Good evening, everyone. How are we doing today? Hopefully everybody's staying cool. Big heat wave coming across the U.S. I know it's been a warm one today. Want to thank everybody for coming into the South Carolina football at the Voice of College Football and also the Voice of College Football. Tonight I wanted to go over something with South Carolina that happened recently when it comes to recruiting. And I wanted to get some opinions from you guys out here in the chat. And I'll drop a link in a little while to get some opinions on it. But it's been a topic of conversation I've had with some friends. And it's about stars versus coaching versus development. South Carolina recently got a recruit linebacker out of Norfolk, Virginia, kid by the name of Fred Johnson, 6'3", 225, came into some camps, got evaluated by South Carolina, got an offer. When he was offered by South Carolina, he was actually, and he's still showing nationally, according to 247 Composite, as the 535th player nationally. Well, yesterday, 247 bumped him, and he jumped in the regular 247 recruiting ranking up to 134 to the number 13th linebacker in the country, number 3 player in Virginia. And it kind of got me thinking about recruiting and recruiting services and how they rank players, how they evaluate players. And I guess one of the conversations I've had with my friends and stuff have been about, like I said, 5 stars versus coaches evaluations. You know, a lot of these universities have teams of people, analysts that sit in offices, they watch film, they watch players. And I'm sure some of the bigger schools probably have 20 people that do this, if not more. You know, Georgia's, Alabama's. The bigger schools probably have a lot of people that evaluate players. So the conversation was, I guess, would you prefer to have a team full of 5 stars? Or would you rather have a great coaching staff that does really good evaluations, that does, they do their homework? You know, sometimes you look at a 5-star player, maybe he doesn't fit what you do as a team. So you bring these kids in for camps, you work them out, even probably the Nick Sabans, the Kirby Smarts, they may look at a 4-star kid. Maybe he's mid to high 4-star, but he fits the team better. Maybe it's just his style that he plays. Could be an offensive lineman, could be a linebacker, because everyone runs a different scheme. So maybe just a guy fits their team better than a 5-star. And I got to thinking about it, and I was looking back at South Carolina when they went, and they had 3 11-win seasons, which was back. A lot of the kids were recruited by Beamer when he was on Spurrier's. I guess he's a recruiting coordinator. And they brought in a lot of great players, and we went on a run. You know, a lot of people say, well, the East was down. Would South Carolina have won 11 games? Well, we don't know. It's in the past. But we do know it was a really good football team under Spurrier. So I started looking. There was really 2 5-star players during that time period. And, of course, everyone knows about Jadeveon Clowney. He was the perfect 100 score when it came to recruiting services. 247 had him top ranked. You couldn't get any higher. I don't know if there's been another player that was ranked higher than Jadeveon Clowney. And the other guy was Marcus Lattimore. And a lot of people that watch South Carolina, we all know Marcus Lattimore. We know what he went through with injuries. But he was the only other 5-star player. Now, Stephon Gilmore, who was probably a year or so ahead of those guys, he was borderline. Just depending on what recruiting service you looked at, 5-star versus, high 4-star kid. So I wanted to talk about the Fred Johnson kid and how once he committed to South Carolina, how does a recruiting service go back, take a look at a kid, analyze the kid, and bump him 400 spots? So it makes me wonder, who's doing these rankings? Like I said, now, according to the composite, he's still ranked 535, right? It's just 247 bumped him up to 134. And I wanted to think about it, and I heard this conversation the other day, and made a lot of sense to me, is these football teams have a lot more people involved when it comes to looking at these kids. Like I said, they have tons of staff that just sit around that's their job all day, is to watch film, throw some names to the coaches, say, let's go look at these kids, go visit them, see if they fit our program, bring them in on official visits, unofficial visits. I was just, South Carolina right now, according to 247, we're ranked 14th. We got 13 commits, 8 4-stars, 5 3-stars. Now, one of our 3-stars is the number 4 punter in the country, Mason Love. I don't know how. I guess that's a very different recruiting type service when it comes to specialists like kickers. But he ends up a 3-star, but yet number 4 player at his position in the country. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight was just recruiting. And like I said, I want to put the link in because I want to get a lot of other people involved and try to get their opinion on recruiting and how they think recruiting actually works. And which would they prefer? Do they prefer the highly talented kids, or would you rather have a great coaching staff that can develop kids? Because I know, like Connor Shaw, I would consider the greatest quarterback ever in the history of South Carolina. He was a 3-star. And you see that with a lot of these kids, these 3-stars, they come in and they develop. And you look across the NFL, and it's full of 3-star kids. And I know there's a lot less 5-stars because there's only like 32 in a year. So, of course, you're going to have more 4-stars, more 3-stars making it in the NFL than just by number. But I'm just curious on, what everyone thinks about recruiting services. What do you think about coaching staffs as far as evaluating, and which do you prefer? How you doing there, Mr. Jackson Johnson? Mr. Ed Rogers, how you doing, Mr. Joey Foster? Appreciate everyone that's in here in the chat section. Mr. Bulldog JC, Gamecock Chuck, Vic Tube, Hummus Hero. How you doing there, buddy? Yeah, like I said, I just kind of went through. I started looking at South Carolina's 2024 class, and our lead guy, of course, is a kid by the name Dante Reno, 4-star quarterback. He was in the Elite 11, excuse me. And he's kind of been that vocal leader for the 2024 class for us. And we're growing. I think Beamer's doing great with with the class. I think people are growing impatient because we see a lot of other schools that are signing a lot of kids, and they're higher ranked than us. But a lot of these classes are full. I mean, you start looking at like Michigan's and Minnesota's and these schools that are ahead of us, they have 20 to 23, 24 commits already. Their class is basically done. And we're in it for some good players. We're actually in a Bama boy right here will know we're battling with Alabama for a running back right now. Daniel Hill. From what I heard, it's a race between Bama and South Carolina to land him. We're battling Ohio State for 5-star defensive end Dylan Stewart out of Maryland. So, don't count us out yet. I think Beamer's got some surprises coming, and we're going to get some more recruits. But I'm going to go ahead and drop the link in here. And anybody that wants to come in and join me and discuss this about recruiting and what their thoughts are, whether you think it's talent is above coaching, or whether you think coaching is above talent. Because I don't know. I just look at Texas A&M class from last year, and I know a lot of those kids are transferred out now because of getting in some trouble. But a lot of talent on that team, but it didn't look like there was a lot of coaching going on. A lot of not very disciplined, smoking, marijuana in the bathroom, locker rooms. And I was just always curious on that question. Like I just think South Carolina developed a lot of players over 5 stars, and to win 11 games 3 years in a row was a big accomplishment for us. But it did start with recruiting better, because at South Carolina we weren't recruiting very well. Yeah, Lou Holtz did. Lou Holtz came in and took a actual winless team, made them much better, won 2 back-to-back bowl games against Ohio State before Spurrier came in. And then when Spurrier came in, it was slow in the beginning, and we had to build it. 6, 7, 8 wins, and then we finally popped and hit those 3 11-win seasons. And of course, that Spurrier's, I don't know if anyone else has done it, but I know he and I think Bear Bryant are the only 2 coaches to have the winningest records as a head coach for 2 different football teams. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, just kind of looking over recruiting class for South Carolina. We did kind of take over the state in 2023 when it came to getting the higher kids, the 4-star kids out of South Carolina. Oh, yeah, you remember those Outback Bowls there, Hummus Hero? I do too. That was the Emily Cooper. They actually did. So some kids from South Carolina that are coming in, that this is where when Spurrier kind of took over and started really running that 5 years that they beat Clemson in a row, it was winning the state of South Carolina in recruiting. And I think Beamer's back to doing that again. 4-star guy named Cam Pringle out of Dorchester, South Carolina. For his position, he's ranked number 3 in the state. He's number 1. And nationally, he's the number 54 player in the country. Big get. Big get for Shane Beamer and the staff. Keeping kids like that at home is what South Carolina has to do. And beating out teams like Clemson and Georgia for these kids, you can hang that your hat on that you're telling other recruits the same thing. So hey, we're competing with the big boys now when it comes to recruiting. We're look at the kids that we're bringing in, look at the offers they have, and that's where you start. You start in your home state. You get the best kids out of the state you can get, and then you start bringing in kids from elsewhere, which we've done. Getting Nicholas Harbor last year from Maryland, a 5-star Olympic speed kid, coming in, going to be a wide receiver. 6'5", 225. I think he's going to be a heck of a wide receiver. We'll have to see how it develops as far as catching the ball. Now, I know he played some tight end in high school, and he was also a defensive end. Receiver is going to be a little different. Justin Stepp, our coach, I think he's going to do really good with Harbor and put in a lot of work with him. And I heard the kid was putting in a tremendous amount of work during the summer with some wide receiver coaches, professional wide receiver coaches. So we hope that turns out. Another kid we got out of South Carolina coming in 2024 is Josiah Thompson. Now, some rumors got started about him last week, and it turns out they were just rumors. Some people were cutting up having fun about him flipping to Alabama, which was not cool for that kid. There's certain things you do. You don't get out and start rumors, especially negative rumors against your own football team, because these were South Carolina people that started this rumor. And that's negative recruiting against your own football team, even if it's just in a joking manner. But you don't start big rumors like that, whether you're trying to be funny or not. Another kid we got that was highly ranked, which not from South Carolina, but we're in Georgia now recruiting, right? Michael Smith, 6'4", 235, nationally 137. Position 9th, state 20th. Good commit. And to go into Georgia and get a good 4-star recruit out of the state of Georgia is tough. Now, maybe I don't know if he had offers from Georgia. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm sure being a high-ranked 4-star, he probably did. Look at here. We got our first guest coming in tonight. How you doing there, Mr. Gamecock Chuck?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How you doing?
I was trying to stay cool, buddy. How about yourself?
Oh, same here, man. It's hot as heck up here in North Carolina.
Woo, it's burning down here in Florida, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of running through our 2024 class. Of course, you and I talk about it quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And I got down to Michael Smith from Savannah, Georgia.
Uh-huh.
I don't know his offer sheet, but I was saying, getting these good 4-star recruits out of Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
That South Carolina hasn't done in a while. We get a guy here or there, but we're starting to get more and more.
Uh-huh.
And how impressive that is for the Beamer staff,
Yeah. I think the whole Michael Smith thing was a contribution to Dow Loggins, getting Dow Loggins to South Carolina, because I think he was trying to recruit him to Arkansas. And whenever he got hired to South Carolina, I think that helped us land him.
Yeah. Dow Loggins, I think, is going to be a great coach in South Carolina. And if a lot of people don't know Darryl Loggins, he's our new offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Came in from Arkansas. Long time coach in the NFL, 20 years. Was head coach at Chicago. I guess he moved on as an analyst to Penn State whenever he got out of the NFL, and then got hired on to his alma mater, which was Arkansas. He played football at Arkansas, and he went in there with Kendall Browse and was the tight ends coach.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people ask these days, what do I think South Carolina's offense is going to look like? And I think Joey Foster and I were talking about this last week. And it's a Browse style. It's going to be a Kendall Browse type of offense. They still call it a pro style, but it's a little more open.
Yeah.
Than your typical. I don't think anyone runs a typical old school, what they call pro style offense anymore, where you got a fullback and a running back, and I just teams have gotten past that now. You rarely even hear of a fullback anymore.
Yeah, we ain't had one of them since Patrick DeMarco, really?
Yeah, I think in most cases now on short yardage, you see a lot of teams, they go to putting a big offensive lineman or a defensive lineman or somebody in at fullback, and
let him pave the way.
Yeah, just try to smash through.
Yep.
Get a Hulk smash on people. But another kid we got last year, and I was watching a Georgia show, and the guy that was doing the show does a lot with recruiting around the state of Georgia, and he interviews a lot of kids. And he went to Walton High School in Marietta, Georgia, and he was talking to a couple kids that Georgia was looking at, but he came across Wendell Gregory, a linebacker that's committed to South Carolina. And he said he went over and I guess he tried to talk to Wendell or whatever about, recruiting or where he was. And Wendell Gregory just point blank told him, he's like, man, I'm done. He's like, I don't even take the phone calls from other schools anymore. He said, I made my commitment to South Carolina. I'm sticking with it. And I'm ready to go play high school, get my senior year over with. And I think he's going to be an early enrollee. So, I mean, that's another great kid out of the state of Florida.
Yeah, it's hard to find kids nowadays that shuts it down per se. A lot of these, a lot of these kids like the limelight and to go out and take all these visits, but it's very rare to see a kid just pretty much shut it down when they commit and stay focused and stay on task. Completing their senior year and staying committed to one school. I mean, it's very rare to see that. I mean, a lot of these kids, they want to get out and, take advantage of all these free visits and, see different places and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I like recruits like that.
Well, I think it's getting more and more now, and I think that's why you see a lot of kids go ahead and commit in June and July because they, I'm sure, just like us, after a while, getting all the phone calls, not getting sleep, traveling all over. It probably does get tiring, especially when you're trying to focus on your senior year and get ready for college. To go ahead and get that commitment out of the way, you can settle everything. You know where you're going. You got your destination. You get your head back right. Play your senior year, and get ready to enroll in college. Because these high school kids now, a lot of them are early enrollees, so they're only in high school to the end of football season, and then they're ready. They're ready to run off to college and early enroll and start doing workouts and get in these bowl game practices if your team's in a bowl game.
Yeah, study the playbook and watch film, and
get a good jump on your freshman year in college.
Yeah, if you think you're gonna be a contributor, that's the best route to go. I mean, you need to get there early and get a leg up on all the other ones that's coming in during the fall.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more and more now. And then I saw, I don't know if you saw this, the NCAA has, I guess they're trying to petition to shorten the transfer portal window from 60 days down to 30. I don't know if you saw that come out, but I don't know if you remember, Shane Beamer was one of the people that talked about it last year. I think it was during SEC Media Days. That now you don't get any time off. The coaches don't. Because, that first window's right at the end of the season while you're if you're in a bowl game, you're getting prepared for bowl games. If you're in the playoffs, it's during playoff season.
Yeah.
So a lot of the coaches don't get to focus on recruiting because you're still focusing on getting your team prepared.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that was one of the things, and Beamer had spoke on it last year at SEC Media Days. I think Sam Pittman was another one they had asked that question to. And all the coaches were for shortening the transfer portal season. And I guess that'll keep a lot of the transfer portal kids from like dragging out decisions or hanging out. You better know what you're doing when you hit it, or that window's going to close on you fast.
Yeah, I think they shouldn't open the portal till after bowl games are over.
After the national championship game.
Yeah, because I mean, you have like we had last year, a lot of people opting out and just to hit the portal or whatever, and it shows no loyalty to the program, and so I think they need to wait until after all the bowls and the championship and everything, and then open it up. But that's just my take on it.
I agree, and for us YouTubers, it's good because we're constantly getting content off of it. But for a coaching staff that actually wants to have some family time, I'm sure they'll be very happy with a shorter transfer portal window.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of coaches even talked about your commitment dates of trying to not have two different national signing days. Just set one date, maybe it's prior to season start, like say July. Everyone, your commitment national signing days in July. Everyone's got to sign by then. You're committed for the following season. You're not dragging it out through the season. And I don't see that being a bad thing either. Because now it doesn't really matter. Even if you sign your letter, you see these kids go back and ask to get their letter of intent back. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
I don't think that's a big deal to me. Personally, I don't mind the whole December and February signing periods, but I guess there is some kind of advantage to it. But like you said, try to keep these young men committed throughout the whole season. I mean, that's basically what you're doing, regardless of when they decide to commit or sign the national letter of intent. You still got to recruit them, and you still got to, let them know that they're wanted and everything. So,
yeah, I just think like now they're saying, especially next year, if you think about going to a 12-game playoff, the season's going to get a lot longer for some teams.
Yeah.
Just like I've heard conversations, when they do that, should schools be granted more scholarships? If you're going to end up playing a 16, 17 game season, if you make it to the championship game, having a couple extra guys, scholarship guys on the team for injuries and that type stuff, would it make sense to let each team have another 5 scholarships?
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of different conversations on, I don't know, football's changing so rapidly anymore, especially college football. It's hard to keep up with what everybody's trying to do. It's just funny that all of a sudden the NCAA now wants to, we haven't heard from them in forever.
Yeah.
And now they want to go out and they're telling these schools that they can't, well, don't pay attention to what your state law is when it comes to NIL, because if it's against the NCAA, we're going to come after you. Well, first and foremost, NCAA, you're not above the law. So I don't think you're going to go in and tell a school that's in a state where something's legal that they can't do it.
Yeah.
I just don't see them having that kind of teeth anymore. They haven't punished teams for doing bad things, and I don't see how you're going to jump out now and tell teams, well, you can't follow your own state law. Now, I get there should be some type of universal type thing when it comes to NIL, but again, the federal government doesn't even override state law.
Yeah, I think they just did, whenever they rolled out the NIL, they didn't, it seems like they didn't have no guidance, no regulations against it. And it just, I mean, they did it to themselves. I mean, there should have been some kind of regulations in place, prior to rolling this out. So, they're the ones to blame if they're trying to, I guess, rein it in now, I guess you'd say. But
yeah, I don't know. I like some of the direction in college football, and then there's some of it that you just lose the traditions. Just like looking at our schedule, 2024, not playing Georgia, not playing Tennessee, not playing Florida. And I get we have to get out of the mindset of the divisions. We are always so used to East, West. But then you leave us with like Texas A&M and Missouri, and it's like, okay, so you took away games where the fans can drive to those games.
Yeah.
No, they're kind of traditional.
Yeah.
But you could have gave us Tennessee they try to keep Georgia, Tennessee, and these teams that have rivals still connected with their bigger rivals. Maybe South Carolina's not it, but I don't know. I've heard from Tennessee fans. I've heard from Georgia fans. I've heard from Florida fans. They don't really like that South Carolina's not on their schedule. They enjoy playing us every year. So I kind of the same. I'm like, I'm tired of playing Texas A&M, honestly.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing passionate about it for a South Carolina fan, just like with Missouri. Now they beat us 4 years in a row, and we need to end that streak. That was the only streak we didn't end last year. But I just I don't have the passion when we play Missouri that I do when we play a Florida or a Tennessee or a Georgia. And I know everybody's got to do what they're going to do, and it's only going to be a 1-year deal, and then we're going to a 9-game schedule if the money's there by ESPN. We've heard it all, and we'll see. That's all I can say is we'll see. They're going to run us back through this ringer again next year when it comes to scheduling.
Yeah, hopefully they'll fix it next year or after the 24 season and get us back on track to play in Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, teams like that. Because, like you said, a lot of South Carolina fans ain't gonna give a whole lot of crap about getting up and watching those 12 o'clock kickoff in Missouri or going to Kyle Field to play Texas A&M. Nobody. I mean, them games are not fun to watch as far as getting all riled up for them and everything like that versus playing the likes of Georgia, border battle, playing Tennessee, Florida. I mean, them games are more passionate for more Gamecock fans than playing them. A team like Missouri or Texas A&M, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I like to. When they were talking about doing the 9-game schedule and kind of the teams I looked at keeping. Now I know Georgia wasn't one of them that I'd put on there because I did want to play one of the new teams like Oklahoma or Texas. but I did put, keeping Kentucky, because Kentucky and South Carolina's built a nice little rivalry. The whole culture argument, culture versus climate with Mark Stoops, but it made it fun. You know what? It made that game fun. That little rivalry, spitting back at each other, put some fire in that game for everyone. And I wanted to keep Florida because I think Florida and South Carolina kind of, I don't know if you'd say they're on the same trajectory right now, because I don't know where Florida's going to be. I guess we'll see what Billy Napier can do this year.
Yeah.
But recruiting wise, he's killing it. You know what I mean? Florida's top 5, I think, recruiting or close to it. So another year, he gets a quarterback in there. I think he's got a 5-star coming. You can see Florida go back up. It kind of rotates in the SEC. You'll see some teams down for a little while, and then they'll come back up. And that's the fun thing about the SEC.
Yep.
Now, it is going to get tougher. Oklahoma, Texas coming in. And if you do switch to a 9-game schedule, because, I looked at Florida's schedule for next year, and theirs is pretty tough.
Yeah.
And, of course, 2025, we start off with Virginia Tech in Atlanta.
Yeah, if we keep that one.
I don't think they get rid of that one because it's one of those kickoff classic things, and it is Virginia Tech versus Shane Beamer.
Yeah. Yeah,
so, yeah, I don't know if they'll get rid of that one. Now, the Miami 26-27 home and homes, that one could be in question, but I like to play those games.
Yeah.
I don't live too far from Miami. If South Carolina's playing over there at Hard Rock Stadium, I might go see that game.
Yeah, you should be able to get a good ticket for that at that game.
Oh yeah, it's never a packed house over there. I just don't like going to Miami.
I ain't never been that far south, so
you ain't missing nothing.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna come south, you got to come southwest and come hang out with me for a little while. Don't go southeast. Too much traffic.
Yeah. Yeah, me and the wife, we're talking about going to Tuscaloosa next year to watch South Carolina, Alabama. So should be a fun trip.
Oh yeah. Oh, and that's it. We ended up with LSU, and we ended up with Alabama on our 2024 schedule, which Alabama was already on there. We haven't played Alabama in
2019, was it?
Yeah,
I think it was.
Well, I think we played them the COVID year, right? Or they were one of the teams we didn't play.
I think it was 2019's last time we played them.
Yeah, it was, and then we played them at home.
Yeah.
So that was an old game anyway.
Yeah.
And then LSU, of course, being on the schedule, and then we get Oklahoma. We get to travel out to Oklahoma. I'm interested how they're going to line the schedule up. They dropped the teams that we're going to play, but we really don't know in which order we're going to play them.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see if Oklahoma's going to fill in that spot, or maybe the 3rd game of the season. Normally when we play Georgia, since Georgia's not going to be on the schedule.
Yeah, either that one or the LSU game probably pop into that place.
Yeah, they'll pop us in a night game in Baton Rouge. And we'll be there. Yeah, we can. Well, we need to pop them in the Willie B for a night game.
Yeah, I think that's a home game.
Is it? Yeah, it would make sense since we have to travel to Alabama and travel to Oklahoma. Yeah, UNC does play South Carolina this year, Hummus. I'm excited to watch that game because I did a video the other day about it, and I think Spencer Rattler is going to go into that game with a chip on his shoulder because all the hype's around Drake May. Heisman Trophy candidate. All you hear is Drake May, Drake May, Drake May. And right now, I think we're still, 1.5 underdog?
Yep.
I want to keep that. I don't want South Carolina to be favored.
No, don't favor us. Put us keep it underdog.
And that's a 7:00 kick, right? You going to that game, aren't you?
Yeah, I got my ticket yesterday. Matter of fact, I think it's 7:30. 7:30. I think it's the same time as Penn State in West Virginia.
Yeah, it's a ABC game.
I think so.
Yeah, because we got an ABC against them, and then we have the 3:30 CBS against Georgia.
Yeah.
our second game's a night game too, right?
Yeah, Herman. Yeah.
But I'm sure that'll be on like ESPN Plus or SEC Plus. That won't be.
Yeah, that probably won't be televised. But it's a 7:00 kick, I think.
Yeah, I like North Carolina. I remember when they first built that stadium. I was living up there when they first got the Panthers.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of excitement about that football team in that city. Especially they did really well with Jake Delhomme and made it to the Super Bowl early with that supplemental draft that they did. Well, Malik, I don't know if we're going to beat Tennessee again. I hope we do. Biggest thing is Tennessee, Neyland Stadium is a house of horrors for us.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is going up there and playing. We have not played well inside that stadium.
Yeah, we've only got a few wins up there, ain't we?
Yeah, it's
maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, there. And of course, Kyle Field has been a place of horrors for us, and we have to travel to Athens. We got to go to Neyland. We got to go to Kyle Field. Those are 3 games that probably scare me the most. Clemson actually has to come to Williams-Brice this year.
Oh yeah,
and I don't know if they really scare me. I rewatched the bowl game against Tennessee the other day, and man, if we can put together a running game, Clemson had a hard time stopping Tennessee running the ball. Now, I think we're going to have some fun with our running backs because I don't think a lot of people realize who is going to be in our running back room. But North Carolina will know. They will have some flashbacks from the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you put DK back there, it's like you got 2 quarterbacks back there, so you don't know who's going to do what.
Yeah, you don't know if he's going to run it. You don't know if he's going to throw it.
You don't know what kind of package is back there when he's back there in the backfield. So should be interesting to see how that plays out.
Well, I want to see this offense. I've heard a lot of good things on what they're doing as far as simplifying the calls. And I've heard some good reports out of some players that I think is going to be unexpected for a lot of people. And I don't want to put the kids' names out there because I think that kind of ruins some of the surprise when they do surprise North Carolina. I don't want to put the news out there that y'all might want to watch out for this guy or that guy. But yeah, I think we have a freshman quarterback that's going to see some playing time that's going to throw some people off too. I think they got a few little wrinkles in to get him in the game every once in a while.
Interesting.
Well, it's not like he's a small kid. He's 6'3", 240.
He ain't small at all.
Yeah, so you could see some quarterback wildcat with him. I don't know if you remember when they did that with Chris Leak and Tim Tebow, where they were letting Tebow come in and run wildcat.
Oh yeah.
Quarterback. I think you may see that wrinkle in South Carolina's offense this year with him because he's Tebow's size. You know what I mean?
A little Cam Newton.
But then,
a little Cam Newton.
Yeah, see, I don't want to get ran over by a guy that's 6'3", 240. But I've heard that.
Oh, heck no.
I've heard some real positive things on the wide receiver core. I heard Eddie Lewis is doing really well. Leggett has put in a bunch of work. Now that kid has turned into a daggone monster. Remember you were talking about that picture they put out with him and Rattler, and we were trying to figure out who it was, and it turned out to be Leggett. And I'm like, man, that kid's been in the weight room.
Yeah, he got cut.
And he put some size on. I don't know what his size is now, but he's got to be well into the 230, 240 range too. I thought he was a tight end.
Yeah.
I'm like, heck, they may use him at tight end.
Yeah, and not to mention Harbor's coming in too, so he's going to see some playing time. So
yeah, and that's what I was talking about earlier. They said he's been working with some professional wide receiver coaches before he got on campus. And I'm sure they're working him now. I mean, I know a lot of the kids are probably going home for the 4th of July. But, yeah, they said he's been putting in a lot of work, working on his hands and catching the football. And with his speed, watch out. You got him. Yeah, you put him, you think, nigga, you got to cover Juice Wells. You're going to have Nick Harbor, Leggett, Amarian Brown, Eddie Lewis. And I've even heard Sampson's doing really well. The kid out of Texas.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard Landon Sampson's been doing really well in that receiver room. So I think that's one of the positions I don't think I'm as worried about as I was last year.
No.
I was nervous about it last year. I think our tight end room's good. I definitely think our linebacker room's better than it's been in a long, long time, if not ever. With Kaba coming back, Debo Williams is in there. Pup Howard, they said he's just a beast too. Like what he's turned into, and like he was big when he got to South Carolina, but he's really big now. And I noticed he's been really quiet. He hasn't been posting as much stuff as he used to on Twitter and stuff. I think that man has come out and taken it serious.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a strong room. Now, I am kind of a little worried on our back end. I need to see how our corners are going to work. I did hear, though, who were they talking about? Kelvin Hunter. Is it Kelvin Hunter and Vakari Swain was doing really well. So they think they got some good kids on the back end. They're just young. And we'll see how they do, how they develop.
Yeah, here's a name to look out for. Old Jalen Kilgore.
Yeah, I've heard that one too.
I really like his style of play. Yeah, he's not scared to get up on the line and play the run and you know what I'm saying, he took a stiff arm from DK in the spring game, and DK didn't go nowhere. So I'm excited to see him blossom just like Eamon Worry.
Yeah, and I think they showed earlier safeties or whatever, and man, our man Nick didn't get much respect when it came to the SEC.
Yeah.
How can you I don't know. He was all freshman, leading tackler on the football team, but he didn't get one look in that voting, did he?
No, but they'll be looking at him when the season starts. So he gonna put his name out there.
Yeah. Out of the newcomers, though, honestly, who do you think, especially on, let's say, defense, who's the guy, who's the one or two guys you really look at that you think is going to make the biggest impact early?
Okay. You talking about freshmen just coming in?
Yeah.
I did a video not too long ago talking about the five impact players, and two of them was defense that I really liked, and that's the one I mentioned a while ago, Jalen Kilgore. I mean, that, like I said, that kid, he's gonna have a tremendous career at South Carolina, of course, all said and done. At safety, and then on the edge, Odez Umeozulu.
Yeah.
I think he gets strength and conditioning in the room with Luke Day and puts on some more weight. He's going to be a handful on that edge, and that's who I think is going to make a big impact this year as far as defense.
Yeah, I looked at Dez too, and Dez was one of mine, and the other one was Pup Howard. But I got, I've heard great things about Stone Blanton getting a lot better this offseason. He put away the baseball cleats and focused on football and getting his shoulder healed up. But I do think you're going to see Pup on the field, and I have a feeling you may see him at defensive end every once in a while. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't sneak him up on the line and line him up at defensive end just because of his size and speed.
Yeah.
Hummus, you're talking about Nicholas Harbor. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see him play both sides of the football this year. He might jump. They may throw him in a defensive end every once in a while too.
Yeah, it depends if we get Jordan Strawn back. I think he's still waiting on his eligibility, ain't he?
I thought Strom was back. I thought the one that was in question, which they denied, was little Turbo, Dante Miller.
They denied him?
Yeah. I don't know why. I didn't really hear the reason on it, but I know he was trying to get that extra year, and I think he got denied on his.
Oh,
yeah, Harbor's he won't. The reason they're putting him at wide receiver, hummus, is because he doesn't want to gain weight because he does want to be in the Olympics. And to run, if he's going to play defensive end in the SEC, they'd have to beef him up probably another 30, 35 pounds.
Yeah, his body's not built to play defensive end right now. Not in the SEC anyway, not in my opinion.
Yeah, and you could play him small tight end, but you're going to give up a lot by trying to put him at tight end when it comes to adding some beef and blocking.
Yeah.
And with the speed that kid has, you'd rather get him out. Get him outside, get him one-on-one, 6'5". Not going to find too many safeties that can handle that height.
Yeah.
And definitely handle that speed because he knows where he's going. They got to figure out where he's going.
Yeah, we don't need to line him up at tight end. I think we're pretty set on tight end.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him in slot. I don't know if you'll always see him lined up outside. Bigger body in the slot, almost kind of like they did with what was the kid that was our tight end last year where they dropped him out, went back to Oklahoma?
Oh man, what's his name?
But, you remember that every once in a while they drop him to the slot. Sometimes they put him out wide. So I think that's kind of where you'll see Harbor, just to confuse. He's going to confuse some defensive backs, and everybody's going to figure out who's got him and who's going to hang with him when he takes off because you better hang on quick when that kid takes off. Yeah. If you're not trying to stub him at the line, yeah, Stogner, that's it, hummus. You're right. Yeah. Austin Stogner. Yep. Yeah, you better, if you can't stop him, his get off, you better hang on if you think you're going to stick with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun year. I want to see. I'm excited about seeing a lot of these young players. What do we got? 9 more Saturdays. After this.
Too many.
Too many, right? Well, let's look at it this way. We got vacation this week. It is July 4th, so I'm enjoying my 4 days off.
I wish I had 4 days off.
Well, a lot of these job sites, they won't go back just for Monday.
Yeah.
So, of course, I'm off Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And then got to work 3 days and off 2 again. So I'll be excited. I'll get time to make some videos finally.
There you go. Get back on it.
I'm happy about. Yeah, it was. I didn't get to do the show last week. Didn't really get to do a whole lot of videos. It was hard for me to even sit down and try to dig into these recruits. Like I said, I don't know. I'm this Matthew Fuller kid. I really want to look into him, the new running back kid. I really want to look into his stuff and check out some of his film. Really curious. I think who did I see post earlier? I think it was Jalewis Solomon. I think he said something about announcing soon. I know he's still in with South Carolina. Yeah. I don't.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much on the South Carolina side with that, but I just saw him putting some stuff out earlier, putting a picture back out of him in his South Carolina, photos and uniforms.
Yeah.
But you never know with these kids. I think I've heard rumor Daniel Hill late July. I guess we'll see whether we get a second running back in this class. Big kid. I heard good things about him too.
Yeah, I really like our chances with both Hill and Dylan Stewart and that wide receiver out of North Carolina, Jonathan Paylor.
Yeah, I think he was another one that posted that he'd be making his decision soon.
Yeah, he's got a commitment coming up. So I think we got a good shot with him because it's basically between, I think, from what I've gathered, it's between us and North Carolina State, and I think we still got a good lead on as far as getting him.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about Dylan Stewart. It was every team that's been in the hunt for him, except for South Carolina, it's kind of changed. Now it's South Carolina, Ohio State, where it was South Carolina, Georgia, maybe Alabama. Now it's turned out that it sounds like it's a race between South Carolina and Ohio State.
Yeah, and I think we end up getting that guy because, like I said the other day, man, you don't take 8 visits to a school if you ain't really serious. If you ain't got some love for that school. I mean, because these visits ain't free, except for the official ones. So,
Yeah.
unless I'm missing something, I think we got a very good shot at landing that young man. He's got a lot of teammates, a lot of friends that's already on the roster at South Carolina that's coming in the 23 class that should be there now, from the DMV area. So I think we got a good shot. I think we land that guy, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and definitely getting Harbor helped with that. Getting Dez with that, the offensive lineman, Big Tree and those cats.
Uh-huh.
That definitely all that helped. But they said Dante Reno's been all over Dylan Stewart.
Yeah,
Like Dante's an offense. He's a quarterback, but he's recruiting defensive ends to come to South Carolina.
Yeah,
that kid.
If Dante stays patient and learns the system, he's going to be a good quarterback for us because his leadership and the way he's taking on this role of recruiting and just bringing in good talent. I mean, it's just I think he's going to have a great career if he can if he stays patient and don't want to hit the transfer portal or get enticed by somebody else to leave. If he's patient to sit behind Lenoris or whoever the quarterback may be, next year, I think he's going to be a great quarterback when his turn comes.
Well, and that's the good thing when you get these kids and they're sons of coaches. With his dad being the head coach at Yale.
Yep.
They know that. They're it's not just a coach telling them that. Now you have a parent telling you that.
Yeah.
So hey, your time will come.
Yeah.
Go ahead and prepare yourself. And he's an intelligent kid. I've heard him on a million different shows having conversations. Very smart kid. He knows exactly what he's doing when you see him when he's recruiting the other kids. He knows how he's wording it. He knows what he's saying to them. He's a great addition to our football team. I can say that.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
Well, I think I'm going to jump off of here for tonight, Mr. Gamecock Chuck. I sure do appreciate you coming on here, hanging out with me.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me, man. And good show, man. So
I appreciate you, buddy. And everyone, if you're not subscribed to my buddy Gamecock Chuck over there, please go like and subscribe to his channel. He puts out some South Carolina content on all of South Carolina sports. He talks baseball, basketball, football. Go over and check his channel out. Give him a like. Give him a thumbs up. And hit that subscribe button for him. Don't cost a thing to hit subscribe.
Nope.
And appreciate everyone showing up tonight. Mr. Christopher Foote, Mr. Hummus Hero, B Bean, Joe Long. Appreciate everybody that came by. Like, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow this little South Carolina channel. I have talked to some more people today that we'll have some more guests coming in the future as soon as we get past the holidays and a couple vacations. I have some really good guests lined up to come and join me on the show to talk South Carolina football and really a nice overview of all of football. But appreciate you guys. I got to get out of here for night, early morning. I'd like to thank again Mr. Mark Rogers for the opportunity to do this show. And we'll see you guys next Thursday. Same great place, same great time, 7 p.m. Peace.